Kuz?
Kuz we don't know yet, but Giannis, yes.
Okay. And then Kuz, that'll be based on testing that he did pregame.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess they obviously just talked about Titan last night. You guys have been here for 2 days. It's kind of a weird situation where you guys have been waiting for 2 days to play a game like coming off of back-to-back.
Yeah.
How does that kind of affect you guys, or do you guys even?
It has no effect on anybody. I mean, we're going to do it tomorrow. I mean, we did it the other day with Denver. They'd been waiting there for a while, so it just happens in the league, and I don't think it has much of a bearing. You know, except for you're on a back-to-back, and then like tonight they're on one. Tomorrow we'll be on one. So, you know, we can have a fatigue result. But other than that, I don't think anyone really thinks about it.
You guys have been playing very well out of the break. How do you view like these stretch run type of times? Like last year at this time, you were a couple weeks into the job. But just generally speaking, how do you look at this?
I don't. I'd rather have it than not, honestly. But, you know, I've coached teams where we've had a great stretch run and didn't play well in the playoffs. So it's just, I mean, it all matters, I guess. And then it doesn't matter in the same way. But you want to win because you want a better playoff position. Winning gives confidence. Winning makes you sleep better, makes you feel better. So winning is better than losing. I know that. And, you know, if you win enough, I think it does help. It grows your confidence to a different level. And so that's good for us.
Trae Young is coming off his NBA leading. It was his 13th game with 15 or more assists.
Yeah,
this
I've
season.
done that. That's old.
You know,
I did that all the time when I was here.
And I was just gonna say, so you were.
It's nothing. I tell them that every time. I said, "What you're doing is nothing." No, I'm joking, obviously.
You were leading this franchise with 12 in a single season, but he's now surpassed that with his 13.
I'm not bitter.
That's what I was gonna ask.
Yeah. No. I mean, it's awesome. You know, it's funny. I ran into him, I think, last summer, and he broke my record this year, beginning of the year, right? Yeah, because he told me how close he was, and I told him, jokingly, I said, "Man, I'm praying they trade you this summer. If we can just get you out of town." But he deserves. He's such a great. You know what's amazing about him? He's a great scorer, and he's a great passer. You know, the fact that he can do both those things is just amazing. I love watching him pass. You know, because he may be the best lob passer. Just think what Dominique could have averaged with Trae. It would have been crazy. I literally was telling Dame, and I'm not joking. I said, "Man, I was not a great lob passer." And he said, "What? I saw you throw 100 lobs to Dominique." I said, "What was it, Dominique? You could throw it anywhere. He was going to get it." When I went to other places, I threw one to Patrick Ewing. He was like, "How are you throwing it that high? I can't get it." So, but Trae, I mean, it's amazing what he does. So I'm really happy for him.
Doc, I had another question about your playing career, actually. So, once upon a time, you were a great defensive guard for the city. And I was just wondering, you know, do you think it's possible for a guard or a wing to have a big enough impact these days to win Defensive Player of the Year award, or do you think it should just go to a big man every year?
Well, I'm biased. I think it should have gone to many guards, not me. But I mean, I was a good defender. I was never a Defensive Player of the Year or anything like that. But I mean, Marcus Smart, I think, is the last one to win one. The fact that Drew Holiday has never won a Defensive Player of the Year award is laughable to me. I think in many cases they have a bigger impact on the game. When you have a guy that pressures the ball and controls the ball, it spreads through your whole team and allows your team to do different things. But for whatever reason, that award is just kind of, it's like the MVP in football. You know, if you're a quarterback, you win it. Any other position, you don't. It's the same thing with defensive player. You got to block shots. You know, so yeah, I do think the answer is yes.
Doc, I asked Dave Yeager earlier today about pace in this game. I mean, these guys are number 2 in the league in pace.
Yeah.
I know you guys want to have it on offense as well, and you kind of define it a little bit differently. But as you try to keep them from playing at the pace that they want to play at while maintaining yours, what do you feel like the trick to that is?
Yeah, like I mean, I remember telling you that last year. We don't worry about the other team's pace. We worry about our pace. And we believe if we play at our pace, that controls the other team's pace. And it literally is that simple. And a lot of pace teams you do want to run. You know, I used Indiana last year as a great example. When you walked the ball against Indiana, they ran you out of the gym. When you ran the ball against Indiana, they slowed down. You know, and it's the same thing with most of these teams. So our pace has to maintain. I thought It's funny, the last game we played, they came back from 19. They dominated 3 of the 4 quarters in that game with their pace. We had one good quarter. And in that one quarter, we had 47 points. So that's what pace does if we play at our pace. So maintaining ours is more important.
Just kind of piggybacking off of what he said, this is like the 4th meeting this season. It's almost like a playoff series. Is there anything recurring that Atlanta has done that you've seen kind of that you can pick up on and say, okay, we know we're going to do this and we know we have to.
Yeah, I think when you play a team 4 and 5 times, you kind of know who they are. They kind of know who you are. They do change things a little bit. Now they've made a trade, so they're bringing in different guys that do different things. I mean, last night, Levert was, he was amazing. And they just. So you have to scout that. You have to scout more the individual tendencies. And then you have to watch to see if the team tendencies have changed because they have different personnel. But they're still going to get the ball to Trey, I guarantee you, tonight. And I guarantee you they're going to be a pick and roll and someone's going to try to get behind the defense. So those things will stay.
I wanted to go back to talking about defensive guards and what Dyson's been able to do.
I love watching them.
This season, just how unique is it that he's been able to sustain the impact that he's been able to have from the beginning of the
If
year?
you look at his numbers, I don't know, I'm sure you guys have, but when you look at the steals and deflections and where he's at to everybody else in the league, he has more steals, I think, right now than the person who led last year, all season. It's just amazing. The steal he had last night, it's funny, it's on SportsCenter, best play, and all they talked about was the layup. And I was like, wait a minute, that was an amazing play that created that layup. And that's what I mean by the impact of guard. His hands are absolutely amazing. We had an argument about him early in the year. I made a comment, I said, I think he's the best defensive guard in the league. And our guy said, no, he hadn't proven that yet. I said, oh, he's about to. You can just see it. He's so strong, so stubborn. I think most great defenders are just stubborn human beings, like probably on earth. That's who they are. He can get scored on, doesn't shake him. Someone can dunk on him, doesn't shake him. He's just going to keep coming back. And that's what he reminds me, a little bit of Alvin Robinson, if I had to put a player that reminded me a lot of him.
Doc, I wanted to ask you about the great defensive guards, and I think from a perspective of size, he's got long arms.
Yeah.
He's got so much, and wakes up in the morning thinking about playing defense.
Yeah.
How many guys did you play against or with had that kind of mindset?
Well, I know one I played with that didn't have that. His name was Dominique. That's a fact. But no, I mean, I think it helps. Like I did both, but it helped me having a Dominique. Probably helps him having a Trey. You kind of know what the role that you can help the team most on. I think it's his makeup, though. I think it's so refreshing when you see a young guy come in the league with that makeup. He wants to score. He's learning. He's working on his game, but he's making an impact now. His size is what differentiates him from everyone else, though. He's big, like big, tall, strong, long arms, and he's tough.
You mentioned really Alvin Mookie, maybe in that category.
Mookie's smaller, but Mookie was a pest. But Mookie was smaller. He was strong. But Alvin Robinson was a big guard, and that's who Dyson reminds me of. All right, guys. Thank you.